We frequently observe two distinct realities occupying the same political space. We see the surging energy of a street protest, and we see the rigid control of a boardroom table. Te Pāti Maori wields political influence by projecting an image of unapologetic, decentralized liberation. Its public aesthetic is built on powerful cultural assertion and defiance. Observers routinely conflate this radical public aesthetic with decentralized structural power. The assumption is that because a movement looks and sounds like a grassroots uprising, it is governed like one. An evidence-based audit of the party's internal mechanics reveals a different architecture. The legal record exposes a top-down corporate command structure that bypasses local electorate accountability. Analyzing this requires separating the emotional performance of the movement from the legal reality of how it governs itself. Party leadership projects an image of inevitable electoral dominance. They claim massive, immediate shifts of voters onto the Maori electoral roll are occurring right now. Specifically, the leadership publicly claims 35,000 voters shifted from the general roll to the Maori roll, alongside 55,000 new enrollments. This chart plots those claims against verified Electoral Commission data from November 2024. The record shows a contrast: only 1,309 shifts and 1,779 total new voters in that period. While the directional trend of roll growth is real, the specific metrics are systematically overstated. This gap creates a narrative of overwhelming immediate mandate that the data does not yet support at this scale. The energy of the voters is genuine, however, the data is overstated by leadership to manufacture the appearance of an absolute mandate. To understand how that mandate is actually exercised, we look to the recent High Court judgment in Kapa-Kingi v. Tamihere. This ruling documents the specific sequence of internal decisions and the formal rules that govern them. This flowchart illustrates leadership's claims. Te Pāti Maori belongs to local electorates, with power flowing bottom-up. But adjusting to Justice Radich's factual record, the president and national executive sit at the apex, holding the legal power to override direct control from the electorates. Formal power resides with the president and the national executive. They hold the organization's structural authority and its procedural kill switches. The movement's architecture is a corporate pyramid. Local voices are managed and contained from the top down. The party's constitution outlines localized internal dispute resolution processes, referred to as kaha and tikanga. During a recent internal conflict, Mariamino Kapa-Kingi proposed a tikanga-based mediated discussion. The executive rejected the proposal. This process diagram shows the two options available. The national executive ignored their own kaha and bypassed electorate-level mediation to process an expulsion via executive force. The court confirmed the exclusionary tactics used. Sitting MPs and the Te Taitokerau branch were locked out of critical meetings, while pre-circulated materials framed the expulsion before relevant parties could respond. When internal power is challenged, the party discards its tikanga-based whānau structure in favor of executive expediency. The party originated from the 2004 foreshore and seabed rupture. It was born as a localized hapu and iwi-grounded uprising, anchored in specific relationships. Indigenous accountability relies on the concept of the rohe, a specific region or territory. In this model, political representation is tied to specific geography and the local communities that inhabit it. The modern iteration of Te Pāti Maori shifted away from this local accountability. It scaled into a mediatized pan-Maori corporate brand. This abstraction carries a risk. It treats Maori voters as a uniform market segment rather than a network of localized wakapapa obligations. A corporate command structure neutralizes local sovereignty. It flattens regional identities into a single brand controlled by a few. This creates a double performance in New Zealand politics, where both the state and its most visible opposition utilize the same structural playbook. The Crown performs democratic legitimacy while using mechanisms like fast-track legislation to legally bypass local Maori environmental and territorial rights. The parallel is clear. Te Pāti Maori performs indigenous liberation while utilizing corporate executive mechanisms to bypass local electorate sovereignty. Maori communities are caught in a trap. They are legislatively marginalized by the state from the outside and politically managed by a corporate machine from the inside. Grassroots momentum belongs to the communities mobilizing it. not to the executive apparatus that claims the harvest. For true political authenticity to survive, it must break free from the centralized machine currently managing its voice. This map highlights a structural alternative. A legitimate political vehicle must decentralize power, enforce independent dispute resolution, and anchor its accountability firmly within regional rohe. Genuine liberation cannot be orchestrated from a boardroom. It must be governed by the local communities who fuel the movement.